Hello, everybody. Today, I wanted to take a look at the new Call of Duty, Tarkov-esque mode DMZ. The game footage in the background is from the first game that I played. It matched maybe with two people, which I guess is the default. Um, but yeah, I really want to jump in. I'm really excited to see where this goes and how well it is. Coming from Tarkov, I was playing super careful at first, expecting to die by one stray round. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Tarkov fan. I know I don't make a lot of videos or stream it. For whatever reason, my computer can run Tarkov fine and stream and record fine. But when I try to do them both at the same time, it takes a shit. But here you can see one of my guys went down, and I'm being very non-Call of Duty-esque. But then I realized that guy came from behind me, and if this was Tarkov, I would have gotten nuked by that guy immediately. So it took me a little bit to kind of get out of the Tarkov brain in terms of the intensity of how quick you die and things like that, and a bit more into the Call of Duty-esque mindset. Sorry. I took this shotgun because, similar to Tarkov, if you use gear and you bring it into the raid or whatever they call it, and you die, you lose it. You have to be able to extract to be able to get your stuff back. So I didn't want to bring anything super awesome, and I kind of wanted to go in using whatever would be, I wouldn't care if I lost it. But like even there, that guy kind of had the drop on me, and had that been Tarkov, I would have been just completely nuked by that guy. But it does have a sort of tension in terms of there being a bunch of enemies, which kind of brings me to sort of the next point. The thing that forces people to get to the extraction zones, other than the time limit, is that the enemies kind of spawn in abundance. And the longer time goes on, the more they spawn in and the more armor they get. Like here, I was really shocked to see a helicopter just come right in front of me and drop off a bunch of dudes. I was really not prepared for that. And I kept hearing notifications from like the announcer like, oh, there's more enemies being dropped in the AO. And I kind of just thought it was more Call of Duty narrator-esque, coolness, but it seemed to correspond with then a whole bunch of helicopters would come out and drop a bunch of guys onto the ground, which makes things more difficult and pushes people to try and get to those extraction zones, which forces people to then come in contact with each other. The looting is very similar. You go to a jacket, a door, a box, or whatever, and you kind of open it up. It seems a little clunky. It's like simplified, but also a bit weirder. Maybe it's just because it's on console. I'm playing this on PS5, so maybe on PC you can kind of just click around like you can in Tarkov. Something here, you can't see what it is. It says replace, but I couldn't see what I'm replacing with. Like I don't see both names, so I just had to kind of guess, which was a bit odd. While playing, I also found this thing, I think they called it a stronghold, and I couldn't get into it. I could hear like audio and people talking in the background, and it seems like some bass thing, but I couldn't get in there. But when I killed this guy, he dropped this stronghold, key card. So I kind of was like, oh, okay, that's probably like a labs card. And once I get it, I can then go into the strongholds. But when I went to the stronghold door, it still said that I needed the contract to do it. So I think you have to extract with the keycard and then use it, again similar to the sort of the labs from Tarkov. There were also these like impromptu quests, sort of, kind of like the contracts from Warzone, where mid-game you can kind of pick up a whatever. This one was to destroy supply caches. So what you would do is you would go to them and you would plant this detonator, and then once they were detonated, you have to defend them from like a wave of enemies that would spawn. And it gives you, experience, and it gives you money, but they also, have guns and stuff that you can use. As you can see, there was the little armor thing there, and this is a little deeper into it. I think it was like 10 or 15 minutes into this raid. I don't remember exactly what Call of Duty calls it. But, so at this point, the ads are kind of ratcheting up in terms of what their TTK is. So, it is sort of pushing people towards those exfils. Like, here, you can actually see one of my companion people is in a car, and he actually ended up kind of bailing and just driving right to the extraction, probably because he got downed a bunch, and he was feeling the pressure of trying to, escape. So I think he just went for his own, his stuff. The vehicles themselves felt alright, similar to Warzone. They're a bit clunky and they drive a bit wonky, but the map is pretty big, so it was sort of the best way to get around, and it was getting to the point where the ads were getting pretty crazy. There was only a few minutes left, and we really needed to get to the extraction zone, so I just grabbed the closest vehicle and went for it. The extractions, rather than Tarkov, where you kind of go to your exfil area, you stand in the thing and, you get out of there. Here it works a little bit more like the Division, where there's some extraction zones, and see here he's going to walk by and he shoots the little flare, and that calls up an extraction helicopter. So yeah, so we're at this point where there's a few actual players who are kind of competing for a zone. Now I did learn that the zones are then reusable, so it's not like you use it, you lose it kind of thing, so you gotta catch the boat or leave. You do share the zones and whatever, but it does create those points of contention when you're playing. Here you can see that the helicopter that was called in is coming down, and I wasn't sure if it would be like they get in, they sit down, and you could have more than one group kind of get on, but as you can see, and what I noticed is that they're still running around in there. So if I tried to run out and jump on the helicopter too, they would have just nuked my ass as I was trying to get up there. So you do have to see. I actually just hid from it. It was like, I'll just get the next train because I don't want to die. But then I realized that there has to be this green smoke, sort of like in Tarkov, to know that the exfil is available. So I ran out here to use my own exfil thing, but there was another player waiting for the next boat, just like we were, and unfortunately ended up taking me out. So I didn't get anything from the raid, unfortunately. Furthermore, my teammate also got killed because it was a 3-on-1, so we, lost everything that we had. But we did make it, to an extraction zone, and even though I lost, I still felt like I played a full round. It's not like I, got shot by a scab at the very, very beginning and, wasted my precious load time or whatever, It was a full round win or lose. Similar to the Warzone, things like that, you level up your weapons, and then those weapon upgrades allow you to then use the gunsmith to add those attachments and things like that, to bring into the raid. So if you have a weapon, you can then pimp it out, similar to Tarkov, and then bring it in. You'll lose it if you die with it, but it gives you the capabilities to gunsmith before heading out on your raid. All in all, I had fun with it, and it has promise. It's not as hardcore as Tarkov is, which kind of is good because it means they're not competing in the direct space. So if I want something a little bit more bombastic, I can come here. It fills those dead times. You don't have as much sort of slowness as there is in something like Tarkov. So again, they kind of scratch a different itch. So I'm pretty excited to see where it'll go. I'm going to give it a fair shake. I'm going to, put some real time into it. So possibly expect to see more of it on the channel. If you like this, you can like and subscribe for more stuff. If you want to see more of this, you can do that as well. I hope it's as good as I want it to be and that they stick with it. But either way, I hope you guys all have a good day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, dudes.